Good morning, beautiful people. We are enjoying the day today because look at it. It's gorgeous outside. Today, we have a lot to do. I'm going to be adding items to the Whatnot show. Look at all these things. They're going to be on the next Whatnot show on Thursday this week. I don't know if this video will be out by then. I hope so. But I've got so many fun things. We also have to add to the booth. We also are going to go to the storage unit. And I have a whole storage unit that looks like this, and I'll take you with me. But we have to sort every single box because in 5 days, this whole area will be jam-packed full of boxes full of stuff, and we just basically say everything's $1, come dig. And if you've seen our channel before, you know that this becomes a frenzy of people digging through boxes, and we love it, and we film the whole thing. We do have a camera out there that Steve put up several years ago, and we have filmed everything's $1 garage sale since, so they're fun to watch. But yeah, that's going to be on Saturday the 14th. Sorry about the lighting. Saturday the 14th, starting at 8 o'clock. So if you're local, Saturday, March 14th, 8 o'clock, everything's $1 garage sale. This garage has to be empty and set up by then, and a whole nother storage unit of stuff needs to come here. And that has to happen in 5 days time. So that's what we're doing today. And I'll try to film along the way so you guys can see how it goes. All right, I am getting ready. To mark all of this stuff for Whatnot. And I thought, I'm gonna take you along. I was messaging my mom. Hi, Mom. And I told her, I said, I missed you and I wish you were here so we could play with all this stuff. And so I thought, well, why not just record it so she can see and maybe miss me enough to move back to Nebraska. Just kidding, Mom, I know. But I'm going to show you how I clean all this off and a little bit of how we take pictures of everything. Of course, we have to have our coffee. That's important. And I have a scale right here. And I have my little box of heart numbers where I punch out hearts. And I love playing with paper, so it's not an extra job for me. It's fun. So I make the little number tags. And then my tool of choice is a paintbrush, because a lot of this stuff is dusty from an estate sale, from, you know, living in a house where it was for so many years. And so I have to dust it off. And then we put it here, and you can see there is a ruler there. And I just take a picture of it, put a number on it, and put it in the box. And then that box goes downstairs for Whatnot. And so there's a lot of steps to the process, and we wanted to reduce one of those steps, and that is packing it all, you know, labeling it all, that kind of thing. So that's why we're changing the one room into a Whatnot room with shelves. And I'll just find the items that I want to do on Whatnot. I'll go put them on the shelf. Then I'll go back and take a single picture of each thing, and it'll already be on the shelf ready for the Whatnot. So we're cutting out some of the middle back and forth stuff. But for now, this is our process, and I thought I'd take you along today. For a little while anyway, until you get bored. But anyway, just to spend some time with you guys and with my mom, we'll work on some of this stuff for a bit. But first, coffee. Okay. See, here's some, and I know the close-ups, they don't really work with this camera, but you can see all the dust on top of there. And I just take a brush and brush it off, because if I were to take a wet wipe or something like that, it just doesn't seem to do as good a job, especially when there are jewels and things on top. And the paintbrush isn't so hard that it's going to wreck any of the jewels and any of the paint and that kind of thing. And so I hope you can tell the difference. Look at the lid now to that trinket. Isn't that cool? So anyway, I will just do that on each of them. Now, if there's one that has, like this one is enamel on the inside, and I am going to wipe that out a little bit. And we also use just plain old, like, not really baby wipes because I don't want them to have lotion in them, but they are just Lysol wipes. And we also have paper towels, you know, in case you need to wipe all any of the bubbles or residue from the, and when I say bubbles, I'm talking about the soap bubbles. So get the grime that has sat on the inside of that for a while. And then just hit it with paper towel, nice and easy. It looks so much better than on the inside. And then we will dust off the outside to make sure that there's no dust in the little crevices. And so I'll dust several of those. And this is what would be fun to do with a friend, right? With your mom, with your best friend, Ruth. You need to move back to Nebraska too. And so then I just, let me take this and show you. I just set it up there. So we put the box there. Maybe I'll put it like this so you can see the lid and whatever, and take a picture. And the pictures basically that we use on Whatnot are simply, hope you can still see what I'm doing. Yep. Are simply place markers, because we want you to see what the item is. And so it doesn't have to be in great detail, because when we show it to you on the Whatnot show, it is going to be hopefully detailed and you'll be able to see everything about it, right? So these pictures that I'm taking now are basically just placeholders, so you know what's coming up. And I will weigh it too, so then I enter the right weight for it. But that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that and try to, oh, you guys, my mom's birthday is this week, and I knew it was, but my mom's birthday is March 15th. That's Happy Heart Mama. So anybody that's in here or in the Whatnot show, make sure you wish my mom a happy birthday. She'll be 81 years old. And I tell you what, that doesn't slow her down at all. So anyway, I better quit yapping and start doing my job here. So I take a picture and then put it on the scale. We're gonna get a weight for it. And I always just take a picture of the weight, because when I list it, I go back in the house and I list sitting on the couch. So yeah, so I'll get busy doing this. Wanted to tell you guys too, I mentioned we were going to do a garage sale, and I hope this video is out before we do a garage sale, so that you all know. But we put out everything that I want to get rid of, because we kind of use springtime to start over, especially this time of year, because we're rearranging, kind of replanning the business, right? And so we try to be one of the first garage sales out the gate. I know that there were garage sales this last weekend and I didn't get to go because I didn't know they were having them. But we try to be one of the first ones out when springtime comes. And another thing that I do is we have numbers in here, just random numbers, but I don't want to get two numbers right close together of two of the same type of things. I want to spread it out and keep the whole show interesting. So one of the things I'll do is I'll grab a number that is in the 10s, in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, so that every 10 or so I have something really cool like these. And that just keeps our people engaged, and I think it does. It keeps our people interested in the show. If you think that I'm being crazy or I don't know what I'm talking about, you can tell me that too. But I just try to spread it out for, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And so I grab a number that's in the 50s, 58, grab a number in the 60s, 62, grab a number in the 70s, and so on. But most of the time it's just a general luck of the draw after that. But if I have a lot that are in the same kind of category, I like to make sure I spread them out throughout the show. Plus it also lets people who may not have a chance to see the stuff in the early part of the show a chance to see it in the end part of the show, and vice versa. If somebody can't get there right at 6 o'clock, I don't want to have everything selling, everything gone by the time they get here. I want to spread it out so there's still fun stuff for them when they are able to come in the show, because I know a show gets really long and just drags out if you're expected to stay for 2 hours, right? I know that. So we like to keep it so that you guys can come in and out of the show and hopefully get to see some really cool stuff anytime you come into the show. So we spread everything out like that, just random order. Had a couple things that wanted to talk to you guys about while I'm doing this today as well. We had some people ask questions and want to know this, that, or the other thing, and love those questions. I think I haven't talked to Steve about this, so I think I may try to address some of those things, but we may do a question and answer session as well. When we started the first channel, the Happy Heart Treasures channel, it was lots of years ago. And I want to show you this guy. Isn't he cute? Anyway, several years ago, and you forget that the people that watched you several years ago may not be the same people that watch you now, because people come and go, life happens, and preferences change, like what maybe they're interested in or have time for. So we forget that you may not have been here for the beginning and the storytelling and stuff like that. So I had some people ask where we got the name Happy Heart Treasures, right? Well, when I was younger and having babies, I wanted to be able to stay home with them and do daycare so that I could be with my kids and raise my kids myself. And so I was able to start a daycare after Dakin was born. And in trying to pick the name, we lived in a small town of Hallam. I was the village clerk in Hallam, and I just wanted my daycare to be a place where people could bring their kids and know that they were going to be loved on, and they were going to experience stimulating activities during the day, and just be a place where they were happy to go to. Joy, happiness. And so I thought about the name for a long time and came up with Happy Hearts Daycare. So in my daycare, we did lots of cuddling, lots of walks around town, small town of Hallam. So we would go down and visit Sarah's stores. My friend Sarah Hartzell had a store in Hallam. And fun story, she had Chandler on the same day in the same hospital, and we shared a room. So our little boys grew up for the first couple years together, and then also we had another just fun group of people in the town. Anyway, so I wanted the daycare to be a place where people could know that their kids are going to be loved on, and they were going to play and have fun and just be happy. We would make a spaceship out of the big coffee table that my husband had made for me, and so we'd get underneath this, not coffee table, dining room table, and we'd get underneath this table, and it had lots of screws on the bottom, and so those were the numbers, and we made a spaceship under there. And one time one of the parents came to pick up their kids, and I saw them come in because they didn't have to knock, they just came in whenever, you know, to get their kids. And here I am, I'm underneath a table with all the kiddos and the chairs pulled in, so they didn't see us right away, and we're playing spaceship under the table. And to see your daycare provider climb out from under the table with all the kids coming after, I don't know, it must have been quite a sight. But that's what my daycare was Happy Heart Daycare. And so I was lucky enough with each kiddo, I was able to do daycare with them for 18 months before I went back to work and things like that. And running your own daycare, you realize what it takes, and it makes you choose daycares for your children a little differently. So each time I had kids, my bigger kids, of course, got to stay home in the daycare too. So Dakin wasn't in daycare very much, because other than his mama's daycare, because of his siblings that came along after. But then when we moved to Lincoln, of course, I worked in the corporate world. I was office manager for a construction company 2 different times, for Service Master, for Pepsi. I was HR at Pepsi, and just decided after my brother passed away that my priorities shifted, right? I wanted to spend time doing what I wanted to do instead of, and this was after COVID, instead of locked behind 4 walls. So again, you have to choose. Okay, I'm gonna name my company. What am I gonna name my company? And I wanted the same thing. I wanted a place that we were happy and we could bring happiness to other people, and we were, in essence, rehoming stuff, bringing somebody's treasures to other people. And so that I decided to stick with the same name. So Happy Heart Treasures. I like the name. I just really, really like what it meant and stands for, and reminds me what I'm here for. And that is to bring joy and happiness to other people any way that I can, whether it's helping you through a situation like having to go through and sort everything in a home or an estate, and you need to find a place for it, or maybe you're setting up a new house and you really don't have the money to pay for everything full price right in the store. So that's kind of our mission, I guess you might say, is Happy Heart Treasures is to be able for us to stay home and work from home and spend time with family members and each other, and, you know, make the calls, make the decisions about life and what's important to us, at the same time bringing value to other people in the ways that we can. And at first, you know, it looks different as your business grows, but at first it was a lot of, I was working out here with the door open. I did a lot more dollar auction at that time, and people would come and they would to pick up their items, and they would visit. And I remember several in particular people that would come and visit. And we had just, Mom and I and the family had just gone through caring for my dad for several years after a stroke. And you know, as a family, you go through, I mean, our mom was mostly the caregiver, but as a family, you go through that with each other. And so a lot of people who came and bought from us on the porch were caregivers themselves. And to be able to sit and visit with them and let them know that somebody understands, because caregiving is really hard and tiring and thankless sometimes. And so we were able to visit with and share with other people our journey, and sometimes even share different tools that worked well for different, you know, needs. We're able to find out the needs of people, and you know, when we come across something like that, you know, fill that need. So that's where we were early on. And then we began to be able to help people. We ran into a lady, and these are all stories that we've told before, but you might not have been able to hear it because you weren't, you know, with the channel at that time. But early on, we ran into a situation where we were going to go and do an early pick. And what that means is before somebody has their sale, you're invited to go in and pick the sale early. And so this was actually an acquaintance of Steve's mom, and like 3 tiers down, right? So we got the address, we went over, the lady said, okay, sure, come on in. And we walk in the front door, and the front room is perfect. It's displayed perfectly. You know, there's a bit of a smell, but, you know, animals or whatever. Displayed perfectly. And so we begin to look around and realize that is the only room that's ready. And she is to start this sale the next day. Okay, we went on a Wednesday. She was to start this sale on a Thursday. And I didn't know this person, didn't know the person that referred us to this person, didn't know anything about this person. But as we're going through, I'm seeing that there is no earthly way that she is going to be able to get this done, right? So we come upstairs after touring the basement, and I look at Steve, and I think he knows what I'm going to say. He knows me well. I said, we can do one of 3 things. We can either offer you a price on everything here, and you're going to need to go a couple weeks to get it out of here because it's a big job. Or we can just pick a few things and go, and you won't ever see us again. Or we can help you get this done. Because I just felt the pull to help her. And she said, help me. And her cousin was there, and her cousin said, you don't know these people. And she said, God's people speak a different language. She knew our heart. And so what did we do? We went home, we ended our auctions that were on, dollar auction at that time, you know, and buttoned up stuff at home. On the way home, I called Ruth and Larry. Steve called his sister and his brother. And we went back over there a couple hours later with an army of friends. And we call ourselves the Get Stuff Done crew. And we went to work getting the garage ready, and it was full stuff. So we set up tables, we wiped everything down, we lined stuff up so people could at least come in. And I told her, I said, you're gonna have to sit here. We're not gonna, you know, mark everything. You're gonna have to sit here, and as people come through with their items, you're gonna have to give them a price. So she's like, okay. So we set up the garage, and then and Steve then went to work putting it out on all the socials and, you know, advertising. Now remember, this is early on. So any day that we weren't listing early on in our business. So any day that we weren't listing, we were losing money, right? But we both felt like this is what we needed to do. We needed to help her, and God would take care of the rest, which he did because he's faithful. But so he made signs, he posted it on socials and everything like that. And so the next morning, I go over there at 7 o'clock, and there's people in the house already. And she's like, I don't know what to do. They just came, and they kept coming in. And so I went in the house, and I said, you guys all know the rules. It doesn't start until 8. Everybody go out, and you can come back when we open the door at 8. I don't know where that speech came from, or where I had the guts to make that speech. But people are like, well, I'm not going to come back. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, guess what? They all stayed. And that gave us a minute to catch a breath and, you know, really, okay, what are we going to do? So we said, okay, we're going to open the garage, and that's it. They're just going to be allowed in the garage. And then the next day, we will bring stuff out. And this was a Thursday, and then on Friday we'll bring more stuff out and things like that, because it was just me and her. Nobody else in her family was there to help at that time. And she had traveled here from Arizona, and her mom had come from New Jersey, but her mom was sick with COVID in the hospital, so she was not able to help us. And so it was just me and this gal, and her name was Christy. And so we set up shop, and people were coming left and right, buying and whatever. And then Steve showed up, and he's walking through the house, you know, just kind of looking at things. And he says, you know, if we let people just come in, and because we were having Steve bring stuff through from the basement out, you know, and fill in spots as people were taking stuff. And he says, if we let people come in, and you have people on the inside making sure stuff doesn't get wrecked, he says, they'll carry their own stuff out. So Steve did that. He set that up, and we began to let people go in the house. And at the end of that sale, 2 things happened. Lots of things happened, but 2 major things happened. At the end of that sale, the house was empty. We had some furniture left. She told us, you can pick whatever you want to take home and sell. And we told her, not until the end. Not until the end of the sale. We'll pick from what's left over. And we did that. So we took some stuff at the end, and but everything, the house got emptied, and the house sold, which was another thing she needed to happen. So God worked in those ways. And then as Steve and I were putting all of our focus on Christy and this sale, you know, for the rest of the weekend, because the weekends are the big sale days, right? For us, it's our sourcing days, it's our selling days, it's everything. And we spent all of our time here. Do you know that at the end of that week, we ended up with sales on eBay? Steve woke up, you know, we were worried about, you know, not being able to make our sales goal for the week. But Steve woke up that first morning, and there had been sales overnight that we didn't expect on eBay. It's like God was saying, it's okay, I got you. And then at the end of that week, as we're just, you know, decompressing after the sales and everything was over and we were back home, we look and we add up the sales. And that week on eBay, we had the biggest week we've ever had. So, you know, to that point in sales, God took care of us. Because why? Because we were helping other people. And I'm not to say that we're wonderful or anything like that, but when we put our focus on the things of above, from above, God takes care of the rest. So that's just a reminder for you guys. And, you know, people say, well, don't get too deep in religion and whatever on your show, and that's fine, but this is our personal channel, right? So we can do whatever we want on this channel. But that's just to say, you know, that's kind of how we got started. That's why we named it Happy Heart. That's what our mission is to bring joy and help where we can. So that's how we got the name Happy Heart Treasures. And then how did we name it Stuff? Well, because I began calling us rehomers of stuff, right? So in every one of our videos, after a certain point, Steve says, we're Steve and Donna with Happy Heart Treasures. We're resellers in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I would say rehomers of stuff, because that's what we do. We rehome stuff, right? We take the best and we rehome it to all of y'all. And so when it was like, okay, what do we name the second channel? And we wanted to call it Happy Heart Life, because it was about our life. And guess what? That's already taken. So then we thought about, okay, Happy Heart Adventures. Well, that's already taken. Happy Heart Journey. That's already taken. So we came up with Stuff. And because we're rehomers of stuff, so it's Happy Heart Stuff. Everything that goes along with a happy heart life, a happy life, is the stuff, right? And then Steve had a 3D printer. And some of you already know the rest of the story, but he had a 3D printer and he was playing with it. And what should I make? What should I make? And so he was making stuff that we could give away. And so he found these dragons. They're cute as a button because they look crafted. They looked knitted. And you all know that I love crafting, and I love crochet and anything to do with yarn. And so I saw these little dragons and all different creatures that were that looked knitted. And so we picked the dragons, and we put a couple dragons on, little green dragons on, as giveaways. And as we are doing the giveaway, I'm like, this is our little dragon, blah blah blah, and thought about Puff the Magic Dragon, right? That's something that we listened to growing up, or saw growing up a lot of. And I said, this is Stuff the Happy Dragon. And Steve looks at me like, yeah, whatever. But it stuck. And so Stuff, the dragon, the happy dragon, is our mascot now. So that's how that came about. It's just like, you know, you're doing something and then you realize, I like that. So that's how we came up with Stuff. And in the meantime, too, I was making little plant baubles to go on the plant signs, because Steve makes plant baubles for me, and plant signs for me, and I put little baubles on them. And I decided to bling Stuff. So I gave him a little heart charm, and then that turned into flower charms and other little charms. So we offer Stuff in our whatnot, and there's other ways that you can get him if you'd like. But he is for sale. He's our little mascot, and I'm going to try to crochet him as well, so that we can have a plush Stuff, a stuffed plush Stuff. Got a couple little ideas at the Winterfest, but I'm gonna try to make him a toy as well. So that's kind of where we got all those things. What else? What other questions do you guys have that I can answer and fill in the blanks for? Okay, I want to remind you guys too that we are doing the map. We are doing a map downstairs because we would like to recognize all of you that want to be recognized, and we'd like to keep track of where everybody's watching from. So we have a great big map on the wall. We have a United States map, and we also have a world map. And we have pins that we put for everybody's location. So if you let us know you're from, I don't know, Dallas, Texas, we will put a pin in the map and say your name from Dallas, Texas. And we usually just say the first name. We don't say first and last, or we say your store name, whichever, you know, if you give us your store name, we'll give you a call, a shout out for that. But if you let us know, we have 3 different ways you can let us know where you're from. So we have 3 different color of pins. So if you tell us on each platform where you're from, then you will have 3 different color pins on our map. So if you go to our Facebook page, and that is Happy Heart Treasures Facebook, and tell us there in a comment where you're from, you will get a blue pin on the map. If you go to the new channel, which is Happy Heart Stuff, the new channel is yellow. So you'll have a yellow pin on the map. And if you leave a comment on the original Happy Heart Treasures YouTube, then you will get a red pen. So our map is full of red and yellow and blue pins, but we like to give you a shout out, say thanks for watching and that kind of thing, and you can watch for your name and your pin on our map. So go ahead and do that. Check out all three different platforms. Also on the second one, jeepers, this is just a whole lot of housekeeping, I guess, this morning. So on the Happy Heart Stuff channel, we are growing pretty quickly. We started 10 days ago, and we just hit 402 subscribers this morning, which is cool for us. I know it's not huge for other channels, but we love it. So thank you for being here. And also we have about 700 watch hours. And to be monetized on YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So that's our goal, is to get to that point where we have 1,000 subscribers. So help us get to 1,000 subscribers by sharing it, by making sure you ring, or that you hit the subscribe button, that you hit like, that you share it out there if you know anyone that would like to partake of this kind of content and whatever. So just share that channel out there, and we would appreciate that. Oh my goodness, look at this guy. Isn't he cute? Oh my goodness, he says hello. so many fun things coming up in this next whatnot. Oh, another thing I wanted to address was some people have been concerned that we may be leaving eBay, and that is not the case. We are not leaving eBay because we have reduced the number of things in our store, and that is because early on when we were listing things, I think there was a frenzy to get so many listings, right? And so we listed things that should not to be listed on eBay, because I mean anything will sell on eBay, but it may take 20 years, it may take 2 years, it may take, you know, whatever. So you have to be you have to look at the sell-through rate. So we listed things that shouldn't have been listed on eBay because they don't sell well there, and you have to know your audience, know your customers. Some things actually that we listed on eBay actually sell better on the dollar auction here locally. They may be, you know, kitchen accessories and things like that. And some things sell better on, you know, the whatnot. And so we are trying to very carefully look at the items that we have in the eBay store. Are they best suited for eBay, whatnot, or the dollar auction to be more efficient in our store and our time and our efforts? So that's what's happening there. We are not leaving eBay. We are just trying to be more careful about what goes better where, which also is why we're doing a local everything's $1 garage sale, because we have a lot of stuff that really shouldn't go on whatnot. It would sell on the dollar auction, but folks know our sales are full of good stuff, and so they'll go quickly. People can get them now as opposed to waiting for a year until I get around to listing them. But the dollar garage sale is to move things quickly so that they get into the hands of people that need them, and so that we can clear stuff out. We have quite a few ideas for changing things up and that is, we're going to redo the garage. We are going to redo how the basement works, how the shipping works, the shipping room, so we can store boxes better. You've seen me fight Steve's boxes in the basement. But yeah, so we're just trying to make things more efficient, and that means we have to get rid of the stuff taking the space, right? And move it quicker, so that we're not wasting valuable space with, you know, a $1 item. So that's what's happening and why with eBay and the garage sale and whatnot. We are not leaving eBay. We love eBay. It's the perfect place for some things, and whatnot's the perfect place for others. So that's that. Okay, I've been talking a lot. I am going to try to get busy with this and get this done, and we'll check back with you later. Okay, everybody, we're at the storage unit, and I'm going to show you what our personal storage unit looks like. This is what we have to get through and sort before the garage sale, which is in just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 days, 4 days. We have 4 days to do this. Actually, we have today to do this. Anyway, so I'm gonna get started, and I'm just gonna go through each box and decide, is it garage sale, is it whatever, mark it garage sale, so that we can just come and grab, put out on the lawn. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm hot and tired, but I'm done. It's 5 o'clock. I came about 1 o'clock here, and Steve just came and helped me take trash out. I had some boxes and stuff. So here's what I did. This whole wall, all the way to the back, is for Whatnot, dollar auction, and eBay. Everything right here in the middle, so 2 rows all the way back, is for the garage sale. Stuff on this side, we got some personal stuff here, got 2 big bags of yarn, got a whole bunch of empty totes in the back, and I have these 2 piles of empty totes. Once the garage sale is over, I will match lids to bases, and we'll sell those too. But I'm done. I sorted this whole thing today. So proud of myself. Like I said, this is all that's going to be in here after the garage sale is over on Saturday. That side and this side, everything in the middle here is going to the garage sale. We also have about that much in another storage unit. That is stuff from this last 5-parter that we did. So there's gonna be a lot of good stuff. A lot of it's new from that unit, but it's good stuff. But I just need it to go so we can keep the machine going. So yeah, did it in 1 day. Didn't think I would get that far, but next is the garage. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, Steve came to get some boxes for shipping. He got all of the shipping done for Whatnot.
Hi.
And he's cutting all the boxes down that I had left over.
With a little crappy little not sharp knife.
Good job, honey.
Yeah, Steve's tired.
Yeah.
Had a long day.
And I told him that's all done. I didn't really think that I was gonna get that done.
Well, it's awesome that you did.
Thanks. And next is the garage at home. So
Yep.
Here we go.
Work.
That's right. We're gonna get ready. Tomorrow we have a jewelry Whatnot show, and then on
that'll
Thursday.
be when this comes out.
Tomorrow it will come out. Okay, so that you'll see this tomorrow before the jewelry show, and then Thursday of this week we have a Whatnot, and it's going to be a variety show, but it has a lot of the stuff that you've seen in the recent find that we did, so it should be a good one. The garage sale haul, yeah. So it should be a good one to show. Anything else before I tell them goodbye?
I got nothing.
All right, like and subscribe, share with your friends. Thanks for being here with us, and we will see you soon. Bye.